Vanguard portfolio update as of July 2024. Just like always, I'm going to be running you through everything that you need to know. Exactly what I'm investing into, exactly how much I have, and exactly how much I'm putting away into my Vanguard account every single month. This video is going to cover my Vanguard Stocks and Shares ISA and Vanguard SIPP in the UK, and also my Vanguard General Investment account in Australia, as I'm currently in Australia, so I've been using that to invest monthly. Please share in the comments how your portfolio is doing. I'd love to know. And this video is sponsored by absolutely no one, so just make sure you sign up to my newsletter so I can give you even more investing tips, guidance, and transparency. So let's start with my Vanguard UK account, and you can see as of the 27th of July, I have £50,677. The large majority of that, 45.1k, is in my Stocks and Shares ISA. The remainder, 5.5k, is in my SIPP. Let's start with my Stocks and Shares ISA, which is £45,141. As you can see, no surprises here at all. 100% is in the FTSE Global All Cap. If you've been watching these portfolio updates since they first started back in 2020, you'll know it's an absolute banker. It's just always going to be 100% in the FTSE Global All Cap. If I actually click into the fund, you can then see what I've been investing over the last 5 years, and I absolutely love this chart because the green dot shows what I was investing religiously every single month when I was in the UK. So for a bit of context, I've been investing into this fund since August 2018. I originally started with £100 a month. Then as I started working and my salary went up over time, particularly when I qualified as a chartered accountant, I got a big salary bump increase. I was then putting away £650 a month at its peak into my Stocks and Shares ISA. You can see I've obviously not been contributing to it over the last year or so because I'm currently in Australia, but we'll come on to that shortly. The next account is my Vanguard UK SIPP, my personal pension, private pension, whatever you want to call it. And once again, 100% of this money is in the FTSE Global All Cap. No surprises yet again. In my SIPP, you can see my average unit cost is higher because I started investing into this fund more recently, actually around May 2022. You can see that this chart is a lot less impressive. There's less green dots, but I essentially opened up a SIPP and I made a full video on this so I could withdraw money from my limited company tax efficiently. So I was putting in about £400 a month over about probably an 18-month period, roughly. And that is my SIPP. Not as impressive as my Stocks and Shares ISA, a smaller pot, but still got £5 in there, and still, just like with my Stocks and Shares ISA, letting it grow and compound slowly over the years with all of the money in the FTSE Global All Cap. Why the FTSE Global All Cap? A very common question that I get, and I've made a lot of videos on this over the years. It's ultimately the most globally diverse fund that's available. It's available for a low fee of 0.23%, and it means through that one fund, I'm globally diversified and I don't need any other funds. Of course, you can invest into whatever you like. You can also have an S&P 500 fund. You can also have an emerging markets fund. You can also invest into individual stocks. It's your money. Invest into whatever you like, whatever makes you feel happiest and most comfortable. For me personally, I like having the simplest possible approach with anything. Like when I was like studying, now gymming, running, now investing. I just like things as simple as possible because I think if it's simple, you're more likely to understand it, stick to it over the long term, all of that stuff. So for me, that's one global fund. In essentially all of my big investing accounts, my Stocks and Shares ISA, my SIPP, my UK workplace pension, my Australian workplace pension, they all just contain one global fund because that's the approach that I personally like to follow to keep it as simple and as diversified as possible. And that is why I love the FTSE Global All Cap. And as we're going to see now in my Vanguard Australia account, unfortunately, it's heartbreaking. That fund or an equivalent fund isn't available, which is a nice segue onto my Vanguard Australia General Investment account. Why do I use a General Investment account? Because there's no Stocks and Shares ISA. It's one of the few things that Australia gets wrong. Investing, in my opinion, is much better and much more lucrative in the UK. Number one, you get an employer match. You don't get that here. And number two, there's a tax efficient vehicle in a Stocks and Shares ISA. There's no equivalent here in Australia, unfortunately. Listen, it gets most things right. I'm not going to lie. It's a good place to live. But those two things is where the UK does beat it. As well as obviously being able to watch football at like a normal time at 3 o'clock on a Saturday and actually finding a decent pint of Guinness. But my Vanguard Australia account is at, in total, $23,139. To get that into pounds, essentially half it and add a little bit. So in pounds, it's roughly about £12,000. This account I opened up in April 2023 when I could no longer contribute to my stocks and shares ISA essentially. And then since then, I've been investing fortnightly into my Vanguard Australia account. I originally started off with $5,000. I wish it was 5,000. I originally started off with $500 fortnightly, and I then increased it to $550 fortnightly at the start of 2024. And I actually recently, glad to say, got a little pay rise at work as of July. So I'm going to be looking to increase my contributions again fortnightly. And actually, now I've logged into this account, I might do that. For context, I very rarely check my investing accounts. Everything is on autopilot. It always was in the UK. It now is on Australia. Everything's on autopilot. I only really log in, to be honest with you, when I'm either making these videos or when I'm updating my own investment portfolio tracker of my investment portfolio. So other than that, everything's automated, which is once again why I love this approach that I follow when it comes to investing. And that's what I try and teach people: automated, simple, passive, hands off, and you're going to be investing every month. So yeah, if we click into my portfolio, you'll see once again I've got one fund, simple approach, and this is the Vanguard MSCI Index International Shares ETF. It was essentially the most globally diversified, lowest cost fund I could find on Vanguard. It happens to be an ETF, not an index fund, but because I'm investing fortnightly and just holding, it essentially serves the same purpose. It has 1,500 companies that it's invested into all around the world, and it has a low fee of 0.18%. So it's slightly cheaper than the FTSE Global All Cap, but also less diversified because the FTSE Global All Cap has 7,000 stocks, whereas this only has 1,500. And that's it. All the money is automatically going into this fund every fortnight. Everything's hands off, and that is my Vanguard international Vanguard portfolio from both the UK and Australia. Unfortunately, on Vanguard Australia, it doesn't show you what return you've got, the portfolio return, like Vanguard UK. You also can't click into the fund and see where you've been investing. So I think Vanguard UK is just a better design and platform than Vanguard Australia, but I might not be using Vanguard Australia to its full potential. I literally just invest every month into global index funds. It's pretty boring, but it builds my wealth slowly. What is interesting as well, Vanguard Australia do offer individual stock investing, whereas Vanguard UK don't. And that wraps up my Vanguard investment portfolio update as of July 2024. So I do a bit of quick maths. In total, I've got just over £50,000 in my Vanguard UK account, and I've got around £12,000 in my Vanguard Australia account. So in total, I've got about £62,000 invested with Vanguard across those three accounts, spread across those two countries. One other very cool point that I want to quickly mention here before I wrap up: my total amount of money invested into global index funds recently crossed £100,000. So of course, that's £50,000 in my Vanguard UK account through the FTSE Global All Cap, about £12,000 in my Vanguard Australia account through VGS, and between my UK workplace pension, my Australia workplace pension, and my general investment accounts with Trading 212 and Free Trade, all of those accounts are just in global index funds and ETFs. I've recently crossed £100,000, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm going to make a TikTok and Instagram reel at some point and upload it, but I thought I'd give that interesting fact to YouTube first, the true loyal people that watch the long videos. But yeah, if you want to see a video on that and I can break down what funds I'm investing into, just let me know. But that wraps up this Vanguard portfolio update. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.